So
that was the shop door there where you went in. That was the ladies' department,
remember
where you
that.
got ladies' clothes.
Yes.
That was the shoe department. That was the gentleman's outfitters. And the house that now is run by the people who manipulate your body, you know.
Oh, Fiona.
Physiotherapists, yes.
That was their furniture department.
Was it that sort of down here around the opposite
on
on
the
Busby
opposite
Road?
side.
Yes.
And they lived in the flat above.
They had a lot of property then, didn't they?
And this picture here, where the boys stand by the wall,
Yeah.
that was the end of their piece of their garden. There's the thatch cottages.
Yes,
you know,
I see it. Yep.
before the bungalow was built in there.
Yes.
They were both bungalows actually, because there was one at the top and one at the bottom, wasn't there? One right close to the shop.
Whoa.
Mrs.
This is bungalows up Bushy Road then. The bungalows up Bushy Road.
Not council bungalows.
No.
Private. There's the little one. Then
Yes.
the garden goes on, and there's another one built at the other end
Yes.
inside big gates.
Yes. Yes.
And that was their garden. Went all the way up to there, right up to that thatch cottage.
Right. Okay.
And that would be the wall, you know, the end of their garden. But going back to the Busbys, they must have here. I thought they got away from Germany because they were Jews before the First World War.
Yes. You know, we don't hear anything about
No.
Jews leaving Germany.
But they
before
were
the
there
First World
ever
War, do you?
since. Well, I can remember that when I was a child.
Yes.
So.
But there was anti-German feeling after the First World War, wasn't there? Or during the First World War.
So you're talking about the Busby family at the farmhouse, where
No,
or the one at the
We're
shop?
talking about the one at the shop.
The one at the shop. Okay. That was Isaac.
Isaac.
Yes.
I can't remember what her name was now. And she had a very strong German accent. His wasn't so strong.
Did they sort of fit into Bampton? Did it
They
matter?
did,
It
they
didn't
did.
matter that they had a German
No.
accent.
And they started off with a kind of, I can't call it hire purchase. What do you call it? You paid money into the shop, and then they put the article away.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
When you paid the money, then you got
you
the
got it.
article.
Yes,
And they
yes.
did that with shoes as well.
Did they?
And they would
So-
also let you take. My mum used to send me down and say, go down to Busby's and ask them to send up some shoes for me to see. And they'd give you 2 or 3 pairs of shoes to take home for mum to fit on, or
Yeah,
we
to
show
try
them
out.
to fit on.
Yeah. Yes. There's a service.
So that photograph you're looking at is the one with the little boy and the deck chair in the background.
That's the wall of the extent of their garden.
And this is the Busby at the shop.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the other ones at
No.
all, so not at the moment anyway.
No, and the family up above on that
This
picture that you're looking at,
Yes.
is that still the ones at the shop?
Yes, that's Mr. Busby there,
At the back.
and that's Mrs. Busby.
So that photograph, the little one above the boy standing by the deck chair,
Yeah.
that's Isaac Busby?
Yes. And I don't know the man in the middle, and the other one is Mrs. Busby.
Right. What does he say in his letter? In the letter that he sent?
Top left, Rosalie in Mr. Busby's garden. It doesn't mention any of the names of his children. But I remember Mrs. Ewins. I can't remember her Christian name now, but she married name was Mrs. Ewins. I got a picture of her somewhere with Jean. My Jean when she was in the guides.
Yeah.
And one son that was killed in the war. I said his name just now I've forgotten it.
Oh. We've just mentioned Isaac.
Those are the only two that I knew of the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of the parent,
There's
their
parents, yeah.
children. But that certainly is their shop.
Yes. And you say it was just not the thatch one only. It was next door as well.
Next door as well.
It's
yes.
a huge establishment,
Yes.
isn't it?
That was
In
where
the high
you
street.
went into the ladies' department.
Well, you see, I can remember that in the 50s.
And there was a passage that ran
It
through.
was right through.
And the passage went along. And so you went from there. You went to Miss Stevens was working there then. You know, do you know little Miss Stevens that lived in Broad Street?
No,
Very
I
little lady.
don't.
She used to do the Sunday
No.
school, and she used
No.
to do the Sunday school and work in the shop.
It's interesting.
Mrs. Lane's sister. Do you remember Dick Lane?
Dickie Lane.
Well, his wife's sister that was.
Right. I know the name. I know the name because he was in the church choir. And
Oh,
so
yes,
I've heard
he was,
Terry
yeah.
talk about.
Yeah, got a very high voice, hadn't he?
I think he was tenor voice, yes.
Yeah.
Joe, you seem surprised about the size of that. When Pembury's had it before 1900, it included where Fiona has her physiotherapy shop,
Yeah.
the thatched cottage, which is now called Strawberry Cottage.
Yeah.
Yes, that was all. That was
Leicester
part of the
House.
shop. That one wasn't a part of the shop.
That was
That was
part
where they
of.
stored all their.
Oh,
Oh.
Well,
when
that was part of
yeah.
the shop, but they
When-
didn't
Not
live
public,
there.
yeah.
No, that,
when Pembury's had it, that was part of the shop, and Leicester House next door, and number 7. So it was the 4 properties, 3 together, and the one across the road,
It's remarkable.
and that was all. Well, it was a
the
department
Strawberry
store.
Cottage one. That was you didn't go into that part of it.
No.
So that was all their stock room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have a photograph in the archive with the name of Smith, having the. It's where you can see Busby on that photograph. It says Smith, and then Busby's had it.
That's before my time, then. I expect.
And I don't know if Les and Stella bought from Busby's,
Okay.
and by then it was the 2. It was Leicester House and Strawberry Cottage formed the shop, and they had it for 10 years, and then they all became private properties.
I didn't know all about property. I just know about the people. But I do remember the shop. They used to sell men's caps. You know, all men wore caps in those
Yes.
days.
Very sensible garment. Keeps the head warm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And stays on in the wind.